There's no doubt that phones have been getting really expensive. The second version of the Galaxy Fold 2 came out at just around $2,000, which, I mean, it's technology, so you're paying for what you're getting, but $2,000 is really hard to pay for when you can get a laptop for almost half the price. Phone plan carriers don't make it easy either by making you pay a fairly decent amount just for the phone. Now, there are companies that have been making strides to make cheaper phones. Most big phone companies usually have their flagship and a more budget-friendly option, where you have, for example, the Samsung S series as their flagship and their A series as their budget. You have OnePlus that came out with the Nord, which is their budget version of the OnePlus 8, the iPhone SE versus the iPhone 11. So there are options for budget phones, but even those budget phones can be $400 or $500 each. So I figured there must be something cheaper. There must be something that offers good value for good money, but offers a good product. And that's what I have right here. This right here is the UMIDIGI or UMIDIGI. Probably saying this wrong now, and I definitely said it wrong in one of my last videos where I was talking about their smartwatch that they said. I completely missed the I in there and I was calling it UMDIGI, but there's another I, so it's UMIDIGI. However you pronounce it, this was $200 flat. It's a 64 gigabyte phone and I got it off of Amazon, so here it is. This is the UMIDIGI A7 Pro. So first off, they give you a little card that says thanks. Building a great phone is hard enough, so building a great phone on a budget should be infinitely more difficult. But thanks to all of you who made the super phone super awesome by contributing valuable time and developing hardware, software, and other developments. Thanks for choosing UMIDIGI products. Thanks to your support, our value can be realized and we can constantly move forward to create smart devices with better user experience. And they have a little giveaway by scanning QR codes on the back, so that's pretty cool. Next up, we have our phone here. They provide a fake leather case, and they install a screen protector on the phone, so you don't even have to do that. I was impressed with the OnePlus 8 Pro because they gave you a case and a few screen protectors. This impresses me even more because they install everything themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off. And here we have it. It's lighting up now. UMIDIGI. While that boots up, let's go through some of the other things. They got a little envelope with their quick start guide and a little SIM card pin. Here we have a USB-C cable, USB-A to C. And here we have a classic charger block, and that's it for the case. So this phone runs on stock Android OS. I think one of the coolest parts of the unboxing of this phone was the fact that they print on these two screen protector, the removable protectors, all of the specs on their phone so that while you're taking them off, you can actually see what's inside the phone. On the front, they show that it's a 6.3-inch full HD screen. They have visionary quad cameras with a 16 megapixel high resolution selfie camera, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage, LPDDR4X, which is basically low power RAM, a Helio P23 octa-core processor, 4,150 milliamp hour battery with a Type-C port, and 2 SIM cards and an SD card slot. On the back, we can see that they point at each of the cameras showing what they are. We have a 5 megapixel macro camera, 16 megapixel wide angle, 16 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel depth camera. This phone is a dual SIM card phone, which honestly there aren't too many of, which I'm pretty surprised that something that this cost would provide. So if we pop this out, we can see that it's a little longer than usual. We can see that it has 2 SIM card trays and an SD card slot. So that's really cool if you're a big traveler or if you're living somewhere away from your home. You can keep your SIM card from home while using a new SIM card from where you live now. It also has a fingerprint sensor on the back. See how good it works. It took me 3 tries there. Let's try this again. Took me 3 tries there. So it's not perfect, but I mean, I'm coming from the Galaxy S20 Ultra, which is by no means a budget phone. So I'm trying to keep myself clear of the distinction between a budget phone and my phone that I have now. And I'm trying not to let my phone cloud my judgment of this phone. There's definitely no 120 hertz display, but the display definitely is great. At full HD, 1080p, it still looks nice and crisp. It looks like it's only 60 hertz, but I mean, if you haven't used 120 hertz before, then it's gonna look pretty normal to you. The materials they use, they're not the best. They have a glass back, which does feel nice, but the glass on the back really picks up fingerprints. So it is nice that they provided a case alongside the phone that you can slap on. It's super, super thin, and honestly, it feels good. Nice matte black finish. The aluminum sides that they have on this phone also don't feel the greatest. They seem to kind of protrude over the glass just a little bit. So there's a definite line where you can feel the transition from metal to glass, and it doesn't feel the greatest because of how soft and smooth the aluminum is, and then the kind of stickiness of the glass. So it's definitely a weird feeling, but the case really helps fix all those problems. Just gonna slap that on now. Now it just feels like a nice normal case. While the phone doesn't really look like it has bezels on it while you're just looking at the phone itself when it's off, you can see that there are fairly thick black edges around the screen, and even around the selfie camera on the top. It's not the classic hole punch display like you'd see on a Samsung. I would almost call this like a teardrop selfie camera, where the bezel actually goes down around it and the selfie camera is right in the dip. Not a huge issue, but it definitely protrudes a little bit more into the screen, and it's a little bit more noticeable than the classic hole punch display. So after playing a bit of music with the phone, the speakers definitely don't sound bad. They're definitely loud. They are missing a bit of bass in the low end, and they're quite shrill on the high end, but overall it's not a terrible set of speakers. It's definitely something that you can sit around watching videos with and not get too tired of hearing that kind of sound. The cameras actually look pretty good. The sharpness is definitely really good, and they definitely don't dial up the colors too much like Samsung is known to do. I'm actually a little bit jealous because my phone doesn't have a macro camera like this one. The macro shots also look pretty good as well, even though they're only 5 megapixels. With the cameras, you can also shoot video. You can film up to 1080p, so no 4K options there either, but you can film in wide and regular or a little bit tighter shot. The video doesn't look bad either. The sharpness is definitely as good as the photos. The autofocus isn't too great for video. It seems to do a little bit of searching, like if I was to go from this table, which is nice and close, up to my camera up here, it takes a little bit of time to kind of, I guess what they call it, focus breathing. So it goes from the subject far close and then finds the subject again. So when you're shooting video and you're moving around a little bit, that's not always the best. But other than the autofocus, the camera doesn't look too bad. Now this is the smaller 64 gigabyte model. You can also upgrade to a 128 gigabyte model for I think maybe $50 more. But for a phone for only $200, it definitely impresses me. If you're out there looking for a budget phone, and some of the other budget phones out there these days might actually seem a little bit too expensive for you, I would 100% recommend this phone, because for only $200, you pretty much get everything that other phones have. Maybe you lose a little bit of quality here and there, but this definitely hits everything that you would need for a smartphone in 2020. And UMIDIGI is not done with this one. They have an A7S coming out soon, and it actually seems a little bit weird with their naming scheme because the Sony cameras are also named A7 and A7S, so not sure if Sony knows about this. But the A7 Pro that I have right here definitely checks off every box that I would need in a phone if I was looking for a budget phone. Their A9 phone also comes with a temperature sensor, so if you're really interested in seeing if someone has COVID, you can just point your phone at them and see their temperature of their forehead. So UMIDIGI is clearly interested in getting some interesting features in their phones. They're already doing pretty well with phones at $200. If you're interested in this phone, I'll link it in the description because honestly, I would recommend it. With 4 different cameras at all pretty decent quality, $200, 4,150 milliamp hour battery, stock Android OS. Honestly, this is a really good phone. I hate to say it, but it kind of makes me feel like a chump for the amount that I paid for the Galaxy S20 Ultra. But you know what? You live and learn. Maybe next time I'll go out and buy a UMIDIGI phone myself. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, throw a thumbs up. If you loved it, throw a subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.